Hello children, so in this part I'll be discussing the third life process given in the NCERT book of class 10, that is your transportation. Basically we'll be discussing transportation in animals and transportation in plants. Now when we talk about transportation in animals, or let's say human beings, basically we know that there are different things which needs to get transported. We need to transport our digested food which has been absorbed. We need to transport waste materials. We need to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. We need to transport hormones. And we also need to distribute the heat of our body. So all these things needs transportation. So for transportation you will need a medium. If we draw an analogy, suppose you have food items to be transported, you will need a truck to transport them. So that particular medium in our case is blood. So we'll be discussing details about blood and its composition in the next video. And for that blood to flow, you will need a road. So the network of highways in our body, those are the blood vessels. So we are having things to be transported. We are having the transporting medium. We have the roadways, that is the blood vessels. And for your truck to move, you will need energy, right? It cannot move on its own. So who creates that pressure? So we know that for the blood to flow or circulate in our body, that pressure is created. There has to be a pump, and that pump is your heart. So where is the heart basically located? In my video on lungs, I have told you the heart is located in the cardiac cavity. It is actually centrally located. It is not located on the left side. It is centrally located, but yes, it has a left side extension. So this is the position of the heart. And you know the fact that your heart is the size of your fist. So you can imagine, if you look at the fist of a newborn child, you can imagine how small the heart is. So that is our pumping organ. So in this video we'll learn about the drawing of the structure of the human heart, how we draw it. So you just follow how I'm drawing it. If we compare with a fruit, our heart can be compared with that of a mango. So how the mango has a left side extension, so you can see an extension this side of the human heart. So this is the overall boundary of the human heart. You have to rub somewhere. I'll just show you. So heart has 4 chambers. One chamber is on the right side, top portion. Another chamber is on the right side, lower portion. Another is on the left side, upper portion, one chamber, and another one is on the left side, lower portion. So these are the 4 chambers we have drawn. Now from the lower 2 chambers, 2 tubes will arise which will carry the blood out of the heart. So here we'll rub a little bit, and here we'll rub a little bit. So basically from here one tube arises which will carry the blood to the lungs. It branches out. So there is one tube. Another tube will arise from the left hand side. There is also a major tube. Two tubes comes in and enters into the left upper side chamber, and these are the 2 tubes which are coming and entering into the right upper side chamber. So basically this is the structure. There are some muscular connection. So we'll now look at the labeling. So Now as I label, I will also explain what kind of blood comes in from where to where it goes. So these two tubes, this number 1, this number 2. So number 1, it is called superior vena cava. Number 2 is called inferior vena cava. These are actually veins. These are the largest veins of the human body, and they bring deoxygenated blood. Superior vena cava is bringing deoxygenated blood from the upper portion of the body, that is from your arms and head portion. Inferior vena cava, inferior because it is coming from below, inferior vena cava will bring deoxygenated blood from the whole body, from the lower portion, from your intestine, stomach and all, from your legs, it will come here. It comes and enters into this chamber. This chamber is called the right auricle. It is also sometimes called the right atrium, auricle or atrium. Now from the right atrium, as the right atrium will contract, the deoxygenated blood will enter into this chamber. This chamber is called the right ventricle. ventricle. Now between the right auricle and right ventricle, you will find that there is a valve like this. There is a valve. Why there is a valve? Because when the right ventricle will contract, the blood will have a tendency to go to the right auricle. So when the blood will push this flaps, these are the flaps of the valve, they will close, they will shut like this, thereby preventing the blood from going from ventricle into the auricle. And these valves, it is called the tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Why tricuspid? Because if you look from top, the valve has got 3 flaps. 3 flaps are there on 3 sides, so it is called tricuspid valve. Now when the valves will close or shut at high pressure, they will have a tendency to overturn due to pressure. Now that tendency to overturn is prevented by these muscles. These muscles are called ciliary muscles. So we find ciliary muscles here as well as here. So the only path left now when the right ventricle will constrict for the blood to go is through this tube, and through this tube the deoxygenated blood, it is going where? It is going to lungs for the purpose of oxygenation. One will carry it to the right lung, one will carry it to the left lung. Now after oxygenation, the oxygenated blood will come in through, the oxygenated blood will come in through 2 tubes. These are called, okay, I forgot to tell the name here. These 2 tubes are called pulmonary arteries. And the tubes which are bringing the oxygenated blood, from where? They are bringing it from lungs. They are called pulmonary arteries. Sorry. They are called pulmonary veins. Now as the pulmonary veins, they bring in the oxygenated blood. This oxygenated blood will enter into this chamber. This chamber is called the left auricle. From the left auricle, the blood will, as the left auricle will constrict, the blood will come to the next chamber, lower chamber. There is the left ventricle. Now left ventricle has very thick walls. It has the thickest walls because it has to pump the blood to a long distance to the whole body. So when the left ventricle will pump, the blood will again have a tendency to flow back. That flowing back will be prevented by another valve here. This valve is called the bicuspid valve. Why bicuspid? Because if you look from top, it has got two flaps. So again, the overturning of the valves will be prevented by ciliary muscle. So when the left ventricle will pump, the only way left for the oxygenated blood is to go through one large tube. This is called the aorta. Aorta is the largest artery of the body which carries oxygenated blood to your entire body. So you see, since this aorta will be carrying blood to the whole body, it will require a huge pressure to be created by left ventricle. That's why they have the thickest walls. Okay, so what we find that on the right side deoxygenated blood is flowing, on the left side oxygenated blood is flowing, and the mixing of both the blood is prevented by a muscular wall. This muscular wall is called the septum. Now this partition has a lot of significance. I'll be telling you in my later video that what is the advantage of the blood being separated, the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood. Now as the blood flows out through pulmonary artery and the aorta, they will have a tendency to fall back. So at the beginning of the tubes, there are some valves here which looks like crescent shaped moon, and these valves are called semi-lunar valve. So why semi-lunar? Because they look like crescent shaped moon and they prevent falling of the blood back into the ventricle. So overall, this is the structure of the heart and how the blood flows through the heart. In the next video, we'll be discussing as to what is the significance of this separation of blood and the heartbeat, how the heart beats actually. Okay, thank you.